I've spent the last 8.5 years in philanthropy, and I'm saying this with the permission of the family that I work for. Philanthropy is just a pile of money without partners. So this work and whatever's been accomplished is a result of amazing, amazing partnerships that push thinking, that do great work, that take the ideas and make them happen for kids. So I want to first start out by saying, if anything that's happened is run by that engine, and the people that you're talking with that are going to be a part of this panel are people that have been in that hands-on place of making the work happen.
Well, if we're going to talk about choice, we have to talk about choice for all kids, which then morphed to, well, wait a minute, this isn't just about choice and access, this is actually about opportunity, and how do we look at schools of choice that are autonomous by nature, charter schools, and this is a real opportunity. And had this aha moment of a missed opportunity that from the early days, much of the conversation around choice and students with disabilities was purely about numbers and access and were they complying. And I really think we're missing the boat if we're just talking about compliance. We need to be talking about opportunity. Charter schools have more opportunity, or autonomy. They have the opportunity to try things differently. They're not stuck in decades of traditional practices where they say, oh, if you've got this, we're going to put you here. They start with a blank slate. There are challenges that go with that, but there's much more opportunity than our challenges. And so we have spent the last 4 years trying to conduct research, do policy work, do coalition building, bringing charter advocates and special ed advocates, some of whom are in the room, to the table to have conversations about what can we do to push the charter sector and support the charter sector to really move our thinking forward and accelerate our work with students who learn differently.
What is required for the paradigm shift? So we spend a lot of time with a lot of our innovative school teams getting underneath the learning, the ways that we have to learn and unlearn some things that we believe. So when we work with some school teams, you might have teachers who really do have an orientation to say, I'm a general ed teacher, it is the special education teacher's job to do X, Y, Z. We have to start with actually a very different question with working with teams, which is to ground in all students. So there's a question here about, the notion of all people have special needs. I'm not going to get into that can yet. However, there is a very valid question to ask, which is, me as a teacher, do I hold myself responsible and accountable for all the learners in my classroom? If that is not my mindset, if that's not my orientation, what do I have to learn, what do I have to unlearn to get there? So actually there's a lot of real coaching and adult learning and development work that goes into even being able to prepare people for the paradigm shift that I think is necessary to actually do some of the bridging. That I've seen some really positive things. And once you shift the question and shift the paradigm and shift the kaleidoscope that people are viewing the problem, we've actually seen some real positive momentum where folks are not using such dichotomous language. This is general, this is special education.
So I have a deep belief that we will figure this out, but we have to have a commitment to it, right? We do have to look at our licensure policy. We do have to look at the mindsets. I think, we have an extraordinary parent platform at NCLD called Understood. And it's a guidebook for parents on their journey through the special education process. 2 million people come to that site every month. It's how can we think innovatively, and we're moving into an education platform. And our philosophy is we want to take that 2 million and bridge between parents and educators. How do we use technology differently to infuse these thoughts into gen ed and the way and where teachers are coming? So we'll have grab and go that's evidence-based. We'll have more meaningful professional development that actually addresses the issues that teachers feel that they have. So I think there is a solution here. Money certainly is a driver. I think we do need opportunities in this country to have kind of an innovation pool of money, and so is that an opportunity for politicians to create these opportunities?
You have to take what the research is and figure out how you translate that so that it is applicable, so that it does fit within an actual real life classroom setting. Which is something that Branching Minds is committed to doing, to being that learning engineer, but I think that role needs to be more prolific. There needs to be more people who think of themselves as learning engineers, and I can share a book with you about that if you guys want later on. But But that idea of having there be a role of learning engineer regularly in every district, that there's somebody whose work it is to translate research into practice and to keep that lockstep, right? That what we are doing is at least as good as what we know works, which is not what's happening in most schools. So that would be a huge, to be able to have that barrier removed would be, I think, a huge advantage for everyone. The other piece would be keeping this forward motion of mindset and action together, because to go into schools and tell teachers you need to shift your mindset, you need to teach every student with this fractal of all of the different skills that they could that they might be having difficulties with, and it's a moving, it's a changing permutation all the time, and don't give them the tools and skills to then do that work. That is paralyzing, that is demoralizing, that is, I think, a reason why many teachers leave the profession. If you ask teachers to do this work without having the mindset to understand why it's imperative to do, again, demoralizing, paralyzing, and why teachers leave the profession. So I think we have to keep these things married together, this idea that we need to help shift mindset while we provide ways of doing that make sense within that new world of seeing and understanding.